We are now living in a time where many are silently wondering, are we truly witnessing the beginning of America's collapse? It might sound exaggerated at first, but think deeply. The nation that was once the richest, the most influential and full of dreams, now seems to be fading beneath its own shadow. The middle class, once the pride of the nation, now seems to be becoming a chapter in history. Once, people bought homes, worried about their children's education, took vacations, and lived with some sense of security. Now, they work 12 to 14 hours a day, just fighting to afford rent and food. A visit to the grocery store reveals how terrifying the change truly is. What once cost $10 now can hardly be found below $25 or $30. Prices keep rising, but wages? Stagnant or falling behind. Today, when people hear the term American dream, they don't laugh, they sigh, because that dream has become an impossible fantasy for many. People are drowning in debt, facing new bills every day, while the government turns a blind eye. Walk down the street and you'll see the number of homeless people has increased, countless shop doors marked with "for lease," and people sleeping inside their cars in parking lots. Is this the same America once called the land of endless opportunities? Today, the average American says only one thing: I can't keep up. Credit card debt is at its highest in history. Student loans, home loans, car loans, together they've forgotten how to breathe. Most of their income goes to rent, food, and fuel, and whatever remains is swallowed up by interest payments. Meanwhile, politicians are busy playing power games, and corporations are breaking profit records. It's like a grand play where the people are just spectators, silent, exhausted, yet still holding on to hope that someday America might find its true self again. Once America was the symbol of innovation, industry, and hard work, a country where anyone who dared to dream had the chance to make it real. But today, that same America seems to have turned into a weary body, where people no longer strive to build a life, they struggle just to survive. Today's younger generation was born into a reality where owning a home is an impossible dream. College debt chains them for life, and getting sick means financial disaster. Healthcare here has become a luxury, something beyond the reach of many. You might wonder, is this just a temporary crisis? No, it's a much deeper decay. America's foundation is slowly crumbling from within, and the cracks are visible on people's faces, in their lives. Go to New York, Los Angeles, or San Francisco. You'll see rows of tents on the streets, where once hard-working citizens now spend their nights homeless. They are not lazy. They are people who missed one rent payment, lost their jobs, and kept falling through the cracks of society until nothing was left. The true strength of a nation isn't in its weapons, but in the quality of life of its citizens. That's what defines how healthy a nation really is. And when you look at America now, you can tell something has gone terribly wrong. When food prices double, fuel costs soar to the sky, and people need 2, sometimes 3 jobs just to survive, that's not progress. That's a silent collapse. Yet the media keeps saying the economy is strong, unemployment is down, everything's under control. But reality tells a different story. People go to stores and gasp at the prices, asking themselves, how much longer can this go on? Once they used to say, if you work hard, success will come. But in today's America, that's no longer true. No matter how hard you work, there's no guarantee your life will get better, because the system is built in such a way that the top 1% control the entire game, and the rest are left exhausted, fighting a losing battle just to survive. This isn't an opinion. It's a fact. Today, a handful of the ultra-rich hold half of the nation's total wealth, while millions fight over the remaining half.
This divide isn't just economic. It's seeped into education, healthcare, and even hope itself. Look into the eyes of the younger generation, and you'll see a quiet kind of despair. They know that no matter how hard they try, they may never own a home, never start the business they dream of, because the system isn't made for them. It's built to keep them down forever. They now live in a society where a single wrong decision, like taking on debt or falling ill, can destroy their entire future. And neither the government nor the big corporations seem to care. What matters to them is profit, not the people who are suffering. And the media? They hide this reality behind flashy headlines, celebrities, and political drama. But the truth is, ordinary Americans are slowly breaking down, mentally, financially, and even physically. This collapse isn't happening like an explosion, but gradually, bit by bit, every single day. In today's America, people live just to survive. Survival is no longer a part of life. It is life itself. Every morning, people wake up with just one question in mind: how will I make it through today? This reality isn't limited to the poor. Even the middle class now faces the same struggle. Those who were once considered secure are now under the most pressure. Home prices have reached a point where owning a home with a regular job is nearly impossible. Rents are so high that people now share rooms with coworkers or sleep in their cars. Scenes that were once only seen in movies are now the everyday reality of America. And in this time, politicians stand on television blaming one another. Some say the Republicans are at fault, others blame the Democrats. But the truth is, the entire system is to blame. A system built over years on greed, corruption, and self-interest. When the government spends trillions on wars, aid, or corporate bailouts, it tells ordinary people, our budget is tight, we can't help you. But if you're the owner of a wealthy corporation, the government will stand right by you, because money now writes the policies. Meanwhile, ordinary people drown in debt, fail to pay off their credit card bills, and watch their future fade into darkness. And the most frightening part is, people are now starting to accept this suffering as normal, as if it's just a part of life. But no, it's not normal. It's the sign of a slow, inevitable collapse. America's downfall isn't just economic, it's social and moral as well. We now live in a society where people are lonelier than ever before. Communities have disintegrated, families have drifted apart, and people now spend their time on phones and screens, not with real, living human beings. Once, America was a nation of unity. Neighbors knew each other. People helped one another. Now, most don't even know who lives next door. This isn't just because of technology. It's a kind of social decay,
where selfishness and consumerism have replaced humanity. Politics has become like religion. People hate each other simply for having different opinions. Friendships, relationships, even families are breaking apart because of this division. In this environment, people are losing hope, losing faith, and slowly breaking down mentally. Depression, anxiety, and suicide rates are now higher than ever before. People feel alone, as if no one is listening to them, and that feeling is the true beginning of collapse. Because when people lose hope, no civilization can survive. And if you look at America today, you'll see a nation slowly losing its soul, chasing money, politics, and consumption. This isn't just the story of one country. It's the story of a civilization destroying itself from within. Now we come to the most important part: preparation. Those who are preparing now aren't panicking. They've simply realized that depending on the old system is no longer a safe option. What are they doing? Food and water storage. Not just a few canned goods, but long-term food supplies, grains, dried goods, and clean water systems. Power backup. Solar panels, batteries, inverters, even small generators. They know that when the grid fails, they'll have to run on their own.
medical readiness, first aid, antibiotics, and trauma care training for the whole family, because hospitals won't always be there to help. Security, building community safety networks with generators, water, food, and safe zones. Off-grid living. Many are working to become independent from power, water, and even cash systems. They produce their own food, water, and energy so that in a sudden crisis, they don't have to depend on anyone. This preparation doesn't happen overnight. These people have watched the news, the crises, the inflation, the thefts, and the breakdown of supply chains. Their goal isn't just to survive. They want control and stability. They're building a life that doesn't rely on the system. We need to understand, what we're witnessing isn't an overnight event. It's a slow, ongoing collapse. If you still think things will go back to normal, you're deeply mistaken. The normal world isn't coming back. What they're doing, that's the new reality. And those who are preparing now are simply adapting to it. Now let's talk about one of the biggest threats, insurance and property collapse. We're seeing a situation where men and women alike can no longer get home or property insurance if they live in high-risk areas. Why? Fires, floods, earthquakes. Major insurance companies like State Farm, Allstate, Farmers, and Nationwide are canceling new policies because of climate change, infrastructure risks, and unpredictable natural disasters. The result? Homeowners can no longer expect rebuilding support or compensation. So those preparing now are reinforcing their homes, metal roofs, fire barriers, and flood protection. They're storing critical documents and policies in waterproof safes. They practice evacuation drills and keep digital copies offline. Because they know, if insurance fails, no one will help them. Not FEMA, not banks, not the state government. In this reality, the only true insurance is preparation. Now, let's move to the next stage, the global elites and the controlled collapse. The world's wealthiest and most powerful aren't just waiting. They're planning a controlled collapse and rebuild. Economy, food, government, information. Everything is shifting step by step. They don't want chaos. They want control. They're already establishing new systems while dismantling the old ones. And those who are preparing know, normal life isn't coming back. They're building lives that don't rely on the system. Cash, local trade, skills, and community. These are the new survival tools. This isn't about one blackout, one disaster, or one crisis. It's a full-scale shift from abundance to control, from access to rationing, from freedom to monitored permission. The hardest truth, no one is coming to save you. Not the Fed, not elections, not the news, not corporations. That's why silent preparation isn't a hobby anymore. It's the new survival instinct. So the question is, are you ready to be one of them? If the system collapses, your bank, power, phone, and assistance all stop. What will you do in the first 24 hours? What will your family eat? How will you stay warm? Where will you go? Because the countdown is over. There will be no sirens, only silence. The lights will go out. Those who prepared will move forward. That's reality. The system is crashing. The warnings are no longer subtle. 911 calls will fail. Shelves will empty. Banks will freeze. Insurance will be void. Those who are quietly preparing are not panicking. They're building backups, buying time, and staying calm. Final message? Start with food. Store water. Prepare power, cash, and medicine backups. Build one layer this week, then another. Don't be afraid. Be prepared. Your future depends on it. Now we come to the final and most important part. What happens after the system crash, and what those who are preparing are actually doing. When the system collapses, you won't have time. You'll only have what you've already prepared. Those who are preparing aren't just observing, they're building backups, creating safe zones outside the system. How to start? Food. Stock up a deep pantry. Store dry, long-lasting food. Build a barter or food-sharing network with your local community. Water. Set up rain catchment, off-grid well pumps, and stackable water containers. Keep bleach and know proper dosing for water purification. Power. Have solar backups, inverters, and at least 72 hours worth of off-grid energy. Cash and financial security. Keep cash, gold, and silver. Spread money across different banks. Keep an offline copy of your financial records. Medical and safety. Maintain a home trauma kit and fire extinguishers. Build a local community patrol or safety plan. Silent preparation. Don't post your plans on social media. Build community based on local skills and trust. Learn essential skills like first aid, farming, and power generation. The message is clear. Normal isn't coming back. Those who are preparing aren't panicking. They're simply one step ahead. Those still relying on the system are walking straight into danger. Final message. If the system collapses, banks, power, phones, and assistance all stop. Make sure you've built your first 24-hour plan. Food, water, power, medicine. Start with one layer, then build another, step by step. Don't be afraid. If you're prepared, you can survive. Bottom line, our future is in our own hands. Start preparing now. When the system collapses, those who prepared will move forward. The rest will be left behind.